If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Kulturecast. I am your host, Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined by a first-time guest co-host of the Kulturecast, I guess I was going to say something stupid, now I'm not going to. Alan, the Dungeon Coach, Bjorkgen.
I feel like a wrestler intro right there. The Dungeon Coach.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. The Dungeon Coach is coming at you, brother.
I'm here, brother. I'm here to break down this movie.
Oh my god. And Alan is joining me for 3 reasons. First off, he's a content creator. So there you go. Everybody who creates content, for the most part, I mean, there are some people that create some content that I think is just, don't get me started, is great. He is a Dungeons & Dragons DM, and he's got a YouTube channel all about making Dungeons & Dragons approachable for everyone, including people that may have no interest in it or have never gotten into Dungeons & Dragons but want to, and that...
Yeah, I'm impressed you picked up on that.
Oh, come on. You say it in every video.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, like, that's my whole goal. Yeah, no, I see it. You see the vision.
Well, I mean, I think it's, not to get into too much of it right now, because I'm sure we're going to talk about it when we talk about this movie. I think it is an admirable thing to create a kind of entry path into something that is...
Yeah.
I don't think it's unapproachable, but I think if you're trying to approach it fresh and raw, like with no one helping you, it's kind of like content creation. Right. Like, it's not easy.
Right. Well, I think it gets a stereotype of like sweaty nerds in a basement. It's
nothing wrong with that.
Like,
well, it could be.
You can play a very the movie. I
mean, it could be that, but like, what does it matter even if it is, right?
Yeah. Well, right. But it can be that for the people that want it to be that. But if you want to play it more goofy or more serious or more like, you can do whatever you want with it. So I'm impressed that you picked up on that, because I think a lot of times a lot of the YouTube videos out there are very high caliber, and they talk super specific and too much like rules or strategy and stuff, whenever it's all about the fun and the story and the experience you share with the people at the table.
Well, and like, look, there is a time and a place for minutia, right? I mean, you know that.
Right.
I know that.
Oh, yeah.
For with anything, there is always a time and place for minutia. However, if you're trying to introduce someone, I mean, it's like, look, so you're super into Dungeons & Dragons. Something that I am super into is board games. So a little bit of a crossover, kind of. I'm not going to take someone who has never played a Euro-style board game and be like, let's play Terraforming Mars, or let's play Twilight Imperium. Like that's not helpful to try to get people invested and into your hobby, because board games are a hobby just like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a hobby community. Right. But like, yeah, it's not helpful to just throw people into the deep end, and that's what you're trying to avoid, is trying to give people those steps into the shallow end first to kind of get them acclimated.
Oh, right, for sure. And kind of like where we met at the wedding, and we played with all these random people I've never met before. We played a verbal game of D&D, and everybody's laughing their asses off when we're just bullshitting around, and they're saying they run into a bank and they're trying to rob a bank, but then they get caught. Like, it's just all using your imagination and tapping into that little part of your kid brain that you don't get to tap into anymore.
That you never get to tap into. But speaking of tapping into things that people shouldn't tap into, you are not joining me. You are not joining me to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, the board game. You are joining me to talk about what is widely considered to be on IMDb. It is in the 72 on the 100 lowest rated films on IMDb.
No way.
Yes way. It is Dungeon. It is the film that shares the name with the game, Dungeons and Dragons, from 2000.
Deserve to be free and equal.
The child is not fit to govern an empire.
The forces of darkness. You can control dragons. With the dragon army at my command, I can crush the Empress.
This has got to be some twisted magic experiment gone seriously wrong.
Have threatened to conquer a kingdom.
What can I do to stop Profion?
If you can obtain the Rod of Sevril, you could control red dragons.
I suggest we lay low, let the whole thing blow over, come back, rob everybody.
There's one small problem.
I kind of committed us to find it.
Let their blood rain from the sky!
Trust me.
I hate when you say that!
Don't touch that!
Kill them slowly.
You finish the maze, you win the prize.
You'll have to do better than that.
They must complete this task alone.
You know, I love the way you track.
I'll get Marina, you get the map. How you get the girl and I get a map? We gotta work out some new plans.
I want them found.
Do you really think you can steal my destiny?
Be careful.
You too.
Now is your time to die.
Dungeons and Dragons. You want to play, do you?
Film is directed by Courtney Solomon, is written by Topper Lillian and Carol Cartwright. It stars Justin Whalen, Jeremy Irons, and of all people, Marlon fucking Wayans.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
I am surprised. He pops up. I'm like, who? What?
Why, who? What? Why? And when? Yeah, it's we'll get to that.
Yeah. Especially. Oh yeah.
It's not good. Let's just put it that way. However, the film follows Jeremy Irons' character, who is the villain, Profion, who is attempting to overthrow a peaceful kingdom ruled by a strong female character, and Justin Whalen and Marlon Wayans are two characters who get embroiled in this conflict kind of through happenstance. Yep. I know you had never seen this film before because you were honestly surprised that this was even a thing. How old are you?
Heard of it.
You're about the same age as me, right?
32.
Okay, so you're a little older than me. So when this film came out, you would have been how old?
Oh God, so
you're 3 years older than me. So you would have been 13.
Yeah.
So I was 10. You were 13. Neither one of us saw this when it came out. However, looking at it now as a Dungeons and Dragons kind of, someone who knows their shit with Dungeons and Dragons, what do you think of this attempt to bring the Dungeons and Dragons experience to the big screen?
So I have, the whole time while I'm watching the movie, I was writing notes down just because I knew we were going to be talking about it. So I have, the high-end nerd stuff about, actually, this spell was used incorrectly, technically. But then there's also I was impressed that they have to have gotten the copyright approval for the rights to a lot of the names. Because a lot of the stuff in this movie is copyrighted names from Dungeons and Dragons that they have exclusive rights to.
Right.
There's a beholder, which is this eyeball thing with tentacles, and they have exclusive rights to that. So as soon as I saw one of those, I was like, oh, okay. They actually are all in on this. And they used spell names exactly. They used even a halfling. The writer of the Hobbits are copyrighted from Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Right.
You can't say Hobbit because they coined that. And halfling is the same version in the Dungeons and Dragons. They took that. So as soon as they said halflings, I was like, oh wow, okay, so they must be in ties with this. So
well, I would assume with the name Dungeons and Dragons, they kind of have to be, right? I mean, the term alone, Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, that there's only one thing that is Dungeons and Dragons, and that is the game. Yeah. The game.
So it was cool to see those things in it because of the world I'm so used to then see it on a movie screen or a TV screen or whatever. That was cool, and a lot of even Lily's one-off lines where she's like, I'm gonna have to feeble mind myself, which is an 8th level spell in the game. I was like, oh, okay, cool, I see it. So the nerd in me, I like that, but man, there's so much other stuff going on in this movie.
So it is shockingly bad look, I had never seen it before, but I mean, this film came out within 3 years of another movie that I constantly go back to when I talk about bad 90s CGI, and this is 2000, so as far as I'm concerned, it's right there. Spawn from 1997 is one of the worst. It's such bad CGI, and watching this film, all I could think was, this is somehow worse than Spawn. This looks like the worst. This is some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in a quote-unquote big-budget Hollywood film.
Well, that's why after I watched it, first thing I asked you was give me another movie in the 2000s to compare to, because is it this old to where this is normal, or is it this bad and it really is this bad?
I mean, let's not forget Jurassic Park is older than this movie.
Yes, and the other thing I looked up when I was doing some research is the Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas. That came out the same year, and they were cartoon dinosaurs, trying to be cartoon dinosaurs, and I think they did a better job.
The dragons in this film alone are it is shocking. It is.
I have an entire section on that. Oh my god! I grew up with dragons. My favorite animal as a kid, dragon. And their anatomy in this, especially with everything I just said about how accurate, beholders, halflings, D&D, yeah. but the anatomy of these dragons are so weird. It's like skinny crocodile, T-Rex, long arms. It was very strange.
Can be killed by just dropping a gate on their head.
Oh, gate on it. Yep. It's so easily destroyed, and it didn't seem very threatening. And he just kicks in the cage, comes out, and then one shots it. That was strange. And then like I guess this gets more towards the dragons in general. The whole movie is in D&D. They're called chromatic dragons, and each of the different colors, black, blue, red, all the stuff, they have different features.
Sure.
And the yellow dragons and the red dragons were the same. They were just color coded differently in their CGI thing. So that kind of bothered me. I was like, what? Come on, red dragons are supposed to have a plume with the horns. Like, and then what's going on here? So the dragons definitely rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, and what I don't know, what I find bizarre, because like you're mentioning, like I said, I only have like a cursory knowledge of D&D. What I find bizarre is committing to certain things and then not committing to other things. Does that make sense?
Right. Oh, for sure. Like, okay, we're gonna do straight up stick to the course material, and then not this though. This one we're gonna make crocodile T-Rex dragons.
Yeah, it's super weird, and I mean, again, this is like in the first fucking 5 minutes of the movie. I mean, this is literally just cursory stuff. Mind you, on top of everything else, I think the thing that I found the funniest was the fact that the beginning of the movie takes place in a dungeon with a dragon. It's like,
oh, I see.
It's
like here it is.
Oh, yeah, like we get it. That's oh my god. Like get fucked, like for real. But I mean, you have Justin Whalen, who has been in a couple things. The only thing that I have seen him in outside of this that I remember is Child's Play 3, where he plays the grown-up version of Andy Barclay. And then you've got Marlon Wayans, who he was a black stereotype, and it was shocking.
Yeah,
it was pretty offensive. Yeah, it was pretty offensive. Yeah. Not like offensive, but it was pretty tone deaf, I guess. For like,
right. And especially in the setting, it was strange, and there wasn't anything else around it. You have a bunch of these just like medieval setting, and I was even looking around, and there wasn't even really any other like diverse.
There's one other person of color. Yeah.
The elf.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Bounty hunter chick. And she was even just kind of was extremely stale as far as whatever her character was trying to be. But the Prothean guy.
Jeremy Irons, yeah. You mean the only actual, like, quote unquote, like, there's two people in this film that are the quote unquote punching, like the ones that are punching up or punching down, I guess, in respects to the quality of this movie. It's Jeremy Irons who played Protheon the villain, and then Richard O'Brien who played like the thief guild master. Who, I mean, look, he was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is one of my favorite films, playing Riff Raff. He was doing a version of his character from Crystal Maze like a joke version of it in this film. Like, those are the only two performances that are memorable because they're just like, fuck it, we don't care. We're just gonna like ham it up, and they hammed it up.
Oh, they hammed it up. You're right, and that's how I have one of the things about the Prothean of like overacting. But I think he was just going for the over the top villain, and he was even using the similar voice that he used for Scar in The Lion King.
Right.
But he's seeing his physical face and all the gestures and the I have you now. Like,
it's so over the top, but again, with something like that in this film, I appreciated.
Yeah, he went for it.
But like with the other character, Bruce Payne, who plays Damodar, which is like, I guess, really the main villain of the film. It's my God, it's so bad. It's just
the henchman. Is the main, like, you see him as the antagonist this whole time. And there was, the biggest thing I had with Andromeda, apart from his blue lips, like, why
is that not a thing? Is that not a thing in Dungeons and Dragons? I mean,
no, I was really,
I have no idea. I was genuinely confused.
There's a race in Dungeons and Dragons called Goliath, and they tend to have tattoos, large hulking frames, but he was not even that imposing of a figure as far as size goes. Like, he's not small, but he's not huge. Goliaths are like 6'8" plus tall humanoids. But anyway, the blue lips was weird, and I guess they wanted him to be different in that way, and bald and stuff, so I there's that. But the biggest thing that bothered me, and I hate when movies or shows or whatever do this, and even in playing Dungeons and Dragons, is if you like de-threaten your villain. Like, whenever he found the dwarf, and like they stumble across this random dwarf, and he just runs up to him, knocks him down, and runs away. Like, he like punked him, and how am I supposed to be afraid of Andromeda now if he just got punked by a random dwarf and got beaten and bested so easily, and he doesn't seem threatening anymore?
Well, don't you understand that he rolled a natural 20 to do that? Isn't that what this is? Like, I was expecting, like, that's what this is, though. Like, yeah, look, I mean, they don't give his character anything interesting to do anyways, but yeah, when you have a character who is supposed to be the intimidating villain throughout the film, and he does end up killing one of the main characters, so there's that.
Yeah, that was a shock. I mean, that was the whole thing.
It was a shock, but at the same time, who cares? Because, realistically, here's the thing. Like, Marlon Wayans is playing his character from Don't Be a Menace to South Central in this movie. It's like the exact...
Right. And with all the high-pitched squeals.
Yeah. It's like so over the top and obnoxious. And look, it works in Don't Be a Menace because of the setting of that film and your expectations going into it. But in this, it's supposed to be set in a, like, alternate or time from long ago fantasy
the world of Izmer.
Yeah. And it's like, no, this shit doesn't make any sense. Why is Marlon Wayans doing like the step and fetch it type, like minstrelly weird, like it's just really not offensive. It's just in poor taste, hasn't aged very well. I don't know why they were doing it in 2000, let alone like, I don't think anyone's
I guess it's true. We're watching it now in 2019.
Yeah, but I don't...
Didn't age well, yeah.
I don't know. This is a year removed from Jar Jar Binks, and a couple, a decade before Michael Bay cast offensive racist Transformers with buck teeth that have big ears and are racist. So I don't get it. But the issue with this movie, the ultimate issue that I have over the CGI, over Marlon Wayans, is it is like almost 2 hours long, and it is
I think an hour and 52. I think is what it was.
Something like that, something close, and it's like it's just boring. I found the film to genuinely be very boring and poorly acted.
Yeah, well, the thing for me is like in my headspace as I'm watching this, I'm like, all right, Dungeons and Dragons, kind of like what you said about the dwarf walking up and then besting the guy with his nat 20 and he rolling that one, whatever. Is I'm thinking in like the tropes, like classic storytelling tropes, and even as a dungeon master in a game or when you play a game of D&D, you have these tropes that you send adventurers on. And it was very like, oh, you want to get this? Well, we have to go here and find this item from this person. In order to get that, we need help from this person. And we need to do this side quest here and a side quest there along the way. So I definitely got that vibe of these like mini little adventures that your party's growing. It starts with 2 people, and then you get the little mage girl, and she's in there now, and then you get the dwarf. and you like recruit these people instead of Lord of the Rings over a large spanning epic arc. It's like, we're going to grab these people together and hold them together for some loose reasons, and then they're going to do all these things that are connected, I guess, and then climax very quickly.
Yeah, look, you've played WoW, I've played WoW, you play Dungeons and Dragons, I've played enough RPGs and RPG-like things to know this is just a fetch quest in film form. Like, it is a multi-step fetch quest. And for those of you that don't know what a fetch quest is pretty self-explanatory. You go and fetch an item for the quest giver, and that is the entire quest, is go get me something, bring it back to me. And that is this whole film in a nutshell. Go and get the Eye of the Dragon, which in turn allows you to get the red staff, which then allows you in turn to control the red dragons, and that's the entire film. And once they get the red staff and everything, is like there's like 10 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah. And then it ends very quickly. Like, he gets the red staff, which was one of the least challenging things of all of the things they did. The final thing is being really climactic. Yeah, he got in there, and there's this skeleton doll that's like a puppet.
Yeah,
that took me out of it. Like,
I think it's CGI, actually.
No way.
Yeah, I think it's CGI, but it's like the skeleton of the mage, and he's warning him that if he uses it, you will be corrupted. Like, oh my god, like.
Right, but it's just like, it just looks like this dopey little skeleton. I have to say this too about the CGI, is the lighting. Everything was so bright.
Oh, yeah, and like, that's the thing about, CGI in, like, Jurassic Park and things like that, is they were able to
smartly light it.
Well, and you're able to hide a lot by shooting things in the dark, And you're completely right. Like, everything here just looks washed out. It looks like a computer graphic. It looks like CGI. They're not trying to like underplay the fact that it's CGI.
Yeah. And like the throne room settings, when they're in this big council throne room, like everything is like glaringly bright. And then you're in a dungeon with a skeleton that's, I'm like, where are these? What's the light source here? Like, I had to stop myself and be like, what is emitting this light inside of this dungeon? The candle sconces on the wall, like, how is these flames emitting so much brightness that the entire room is very well lit? That was weird.
The director of photography is providing the lighting. Is that not what it is? Like, it's just from the film crew. They're just like, oh yeah, there's this film crew following us.
Okay, more lighting.
Yeah.
More. So there's this like extremely well lit, awful CGI skeleton that I feel like should have had some sort of creepy, ominous vibe of like what could become of you. And then he gives it to him. He scratches it off with his little puppet hand. And then, like, his death animation of, like, was essentially just someone relaxing their head. And it's just kind of like, just flop down. I was like, all right, well, that was a strange climactic interaction to get the staff and then leave.
Well, and, like, the weird thing is, like, they have, so if you could believe this, and maybe down the road, you and I will visit these nightmares, if you come back on, they made 2 fucking sequels to this movie.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they made 2 sequels. They made a sequel called... It was a made-for-TV sequel called Wrath of the Dragon God, which was not a direct continuation of the previous film, yet Bruce Payne showed up as Damodar again, and then but it's not continuation, so...
Okay, true.
Not a continuation, yet uses the same character. Okay, sure. And then in 2011, a film called Dungeons and Dragons: The Book of Vile Darkness came out, and that was released straight to DVD.
Okay.
It came out in 2012. So it was shot in 2011, came out in 2012. And
that's crazy. I've heard of the Vile Darkness thing.
Yeah.
But I did not realize that was a movie made in continuation or connection to this thing I just watched.
And in 2015, they announced that they are remaking this. They're rebooting Dungeons and Dragons with a release date of 2021.
When I was looking up to see about the whole copyright thing of like them getting the rights and stuff, because I know Hasbro was going to be all over it. But I saw that.
Does Hasbro own Dungeons and Dragons now?
Do what?
Does Hasbro own?
Wizards of the Coast is the main property of Dungeons and Dragons,
which is owned by Hasbro.
They're in Magic the Gathering, and it's all kind of that's like the umbrella of everything. And apparently, this is just something I just recently read. Hasbro's around in that. I'm not.
Well, no. Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast is just a subsidiary of Hasbro. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They were bought by Hasbro. Bought Wizards of the Coast in 1999. So
okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's so much. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast owns so many things now.
I would be really. I mean, we'll get to the rating of this movie at the end, I guess. But it was just enjoyable to watch Dungeons and Dragons because I love it so much. So there was definitely cringe moments, but there's definitely those oh wow, cool. I get to see a beholder wobble around the screen, or even just having those moments of I don't think that spell would work that way. That's actually, that's fun experience to be able to see. So I can only imagine what a 2021 version of this would be.
Well, see, if I were to make a Dungeons and Dragons film, I would make it Jumanji-esque. So it's real people going into the game takes them in.
Oh my god. I see it. Yeah.
I feel like that's that is the easiest analog, because instead of it's random characters, it's kind of similar to Jumanji, but it's a character you created. And so, because that Jumanji formula that they came up with.
The Jumanji format, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
They could have people, the actual people that are going to play the game, you could, at the very beginning of the movie, have them make a character in a quick way, and then throw them into the game, and then they hit the game, and they're you see them, and they could be the famous actors or whatever you have them be, and then you can even cut back and forth between what are you going to do at the table, and they have this big decision to make, and this big epic. That'd be crazy, man. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is I am not certain that that's going to be what it is, but if you're making something like that in a post Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, if you're making something post that, I feel like they would have no reason not to kind of follow. Well, they don't have to, but it's almost tailor made for Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yes. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh my, that is it. Because the biggest thing about D&D is so many people, they're like, oh, isn't there a video game for Dungeons and Dragons? And my mini little rant I always go on is the game of Dungeons and Dragons cannot be a board game or a video game or a movie, the essence of what it is, because it's essentially infinite choice and creativity to be able to do whatever you want to do and say whatever you say could possibly happen, with dice rolls and stuff thrown in there. So this movie, a movie that they're making is not the essence of Dungeons and Dragons of creating a character that you can do anything with. But if you do the Jumanji formula, these people playing the game, they have choice, and you can see the character, the person who's playing it, they have to come to a decision, and what are you going to do? And then that's cool.
Yeah, and again,
pre-made story.
Yeah, and the thing in my mind that makes that a better idea than something like this film is, and I was thinking about this when I was watching the film, because I had kind of internalized something that you had said either to me or in one of your videos, or you probably said it in both, is the idea of being able to do whatever you want. And
right.
The thing about the film is they didn't really do that.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times, or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months, or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
I mean, they did. I'm sure that there are similar stories you could create in Dungeons and Dragons, but
same as any movie.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings does that, So yeah, I totally agree. They didn't hit that.
No, they didn't hit the idea of like this could be something completely unique. Instead, it's a very generic, straightforward, boring story.
This is Izmir.
Yeah.
Right.
Generic Middle Earth-esque place of fantasy realm, and okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it was definitely just a fantasy movie. As soon as you said the movie Dungeons and Dragons, I was like, wow, because all the thoughts I just said hit my mind. Like, it has to be your choice, and your decisions that you make, and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as I saw the movie, I was like, okay, this is just a fantasy setting using D&D. Names and characters and I guess spell inspirations. But yeah, it was definitely just a fantasy movie. But doing the Jumanji formula, I would love to see that.
Well, and the thing is like you said, if you do the Jumanji formula, it allows for, if you have them actually like transported into the game, or you have it just like a live action telling of the story that they're doing. I mean, you could do it either way. I think maybe doing the Jumanji thing, people would be like, this is derivative of Jumanji. It's like, okay, fine, what the fuck ever. Like that, because the idea of someone going into a video game or a board game is Jumanji, and they were the only ones who ever thought of that. Like, that's not entirely accurate. But it does open up these possibilities, because I think one of the things that the movie missed out on is being able to give a meta commentary on the board game or the tabletop game.
Right.
And instead of just being like, this is a generic movie, it's like, this could have been anything. You could have literally slapped any name on this movie, and it would have been applicable, because you could have been like, oh, there's the Beholder, but the Beholder is... That's just like an Easter egg. Like, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you just notice that. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Right. Like, this had nothing to do with... I mean, and that's the thing about Dungeons and Dragons is, like you said, you make your own story. So theoretically, it is Dungeons and Dragons, but it just feels like a generic fantasy film that they slapped the IP on.
Yes, there you go. They just slapped the IP on it. Yep. Yeah. And they took the World of Izmir story of dragons that could have been titled, The Dragons of Izmir, but put Dungeons and Dragons to, the allure and the thematic title. Because, I mean, I think everybody, and we and you talked about this, everybody's heard of Dungeons and Dragons, whether you know what it's about or not, or just think if it's a nerdy, game that guys play, sort of nerds in the basement thing. But everyone's heard of it, but they don't know what it is. So, like, this movie does not capture the essence of what it is. It's just, a fantasy story.
I wonder if the cartoon from the 80s captures that better.
Huh.
So there was a cartoon in the 80s called Dungeons and Dragons, and it is essentially what we are talking about for the new film, where it's like a bunch of kids are thrown into a fantasy world where they must search for a way home. So it's like that idea. And what I wonder is, because the two names attached to the 2021 film are Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, who are now, I guess I would assume, in my mind, they're writing partners now, because they worked on Spider-Man Homecoming together. So,
oh, no way.
Yeah, and they did the screenplay for Horrible Bosses as well, I think, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, I think if you have those names attached to the script, that means you're probably going to bring a little bit more of a comedy, possibly meta spin to it, which would be, I think, the right way to go. Because, like, I don't think the world needs another straight, like, nothing against Dungeons and Dragons, but I think this stands for everything that's fantasy. I don't think the world needs another just fantasy franchise that is not doing anything to set itself.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have Lord of the Rings on the big stage, you have Game of Thrones on the small screen, like, you have these things that do it way better than this movie did. And they are doing it because they probably are just focusing on the cool story and cool characters and doing this world that you get lost in, instead of, here's an IP, what can we do with this IP? All right, here's a fetch quest, and we'll throw in weird-looking dragons.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you get a film that, And look, here's the thing. Yes, the film was poorly received by the kind of the critical community, the film community.
Oh, right.
But I'm curious because, like you said, you're a Dungeons and Dragons, like you're a DM. You understand the world. You understand the lore. It's something that motivates you, obviously, since you have a YouTube channel. I'm actually surprised that you don't dislike it more than you do.
And I mean,
like, I'm being dead serious. Like, I expected you to be like, what the fuck did you make me watch? Like, why? For the love of God, why?
I mean, dude, like, it's cool to see the thing that I love on the screen like that. Like, that.
Even if it is this bad.
The coolest thing. Do what?
Even if it is this bad.
Even if it's this bad.
That's shocking. That's shocking to me because, like, I have seen things that I love translated to the big screen, and I'm just like, I fucking hate all of you. Like, I hate you. I hate the people who made this. I hate the people who made this possible. Like, I wish you would all get fucked. Like, that's how, like, but maybe that's just me, like, and I'm a little fucking wired for sound, which, I mean, I know I am, but.
Oh, right. But I the best way I could describe it is, like, I love playing, Dungeons and Dragons, but whenever we play, we come over to the house, we get the maps out, we draw stuff out, I get the minis, and we have this whole story with our characters. That's the high end of D&D. But at the same time, I love having bullshit conversations at a wedding with people who never have played, nor would probably ever play. And we're talking about, it's all casual and it's all just for fun and just for shits and giggles. And then someone like my wife, who doesn't play Dungeons and Dragons, makes up a character around these people that says they have an ability to do this, that, or the other. And then you have friends of yours that are talking about the game you love, laughing, having a fun time with it. Like, that's fun. So it's hard when you're talking about the game to make it, like, bad. So watching this movie, I was like, oh, man, the CGI. Oh, man, the overacting or the underacting or whatever. But at the same time, I was just grinning every now and then, having this happen, having that happen, and just kind of soaking it all in.
Like, and the crazy thing to me is, I think something that has done wonders for the D&D community more than this film did was, yeah, exactly. Yes, thank you. Like 100%. Like Stranger Things. I mean, look, Stranger Things has the Demogorgon thing baked into it, which
right.
That's fine. But like, they released a Dungeons and Dragons. Didn't they release a Dungeons and Dragons version of a Stranger Things version of Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, they did. They have they've published these like pre-made kit, and they have a Stranger Things kit. There's a starter set. There's a starter kit for like brand new people to play. And then they have a Stranger Things kit. And I think that's also for new people to play that kind of hooked in through the whole Stranger Things vibe. So that's super cool too.
So are they like playing the campaigns that they were playing in the show?
I think that it's a similar world setting. Like, Demogorgon is he's the Prince Demon of the Abyss. The lair he's in is called the Gaping Maw. Like, he's baked into the lore of Dungeons and Dragons, and they have taken whatever the Stranger Things world is, and they've done world building and established certain things to be able to wrap a game around it. Now, I am not as familiar with Stranger Things. It's too scary for my wife to watch. I'm going to have to start. Everyone tells me to watch it because they know how much I love D&D.
I was about to say, like, so you know about it, but you don't know. You've never seen the show.
I've seen the first episode, and my wife got too scared because there's a kid riding a bike in the darkness, and it was too much. Horror film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
But no, like, that I've heard so many cool things about it, and people, like, have asked me questions. They see something happen in the game, like, so, like, is that how it works? And I was like, yeah, well, it kind of works like this, yeah. And you can totally do that, yeah. It can be whatever you want it to be. So, like, I think Stranger Things has definitely opened up some, and D&D has been growing, like, over the last, even 5-6 years. There's a show called Critical Role that gets it has hundreds of thousands of people that actively follow it, and it's definitely been growing. And I think Stranger Things is a much larger proponent than this movie was, but I'm interested to see how much following the 2021 movie gets.
Well, and that's the thing I'm hoping is that the 2021 movie does kind of continue to grow this well, it does it justice, but it also continues to grow this community because, again, like you said, Stranger Things is one interesting way to get people interested in this thing that I guess people thought like no one did anymore, which is clearly not the case.
Right.
But the other thing I'm hoping is that it actually does the tabletop game justice, because this film didn't at all. You know.
Right.
This film didn't help the cause of like, this is just a thing for quote unquote basement dwellers. You know, this is like,
if anything, it almost like does the same. It made a fantasy. It took a fantasy setting, which people are familiar with and have had many good movies of, and made a worse version of it. Like, oh, this is D&D. All right, well.
Yeah, and so mind you, do you know what came out 1 year after this film?
What?
Lord of the Rings. I mean, Lord of the Rings came out almost, I think it was like a week and a year after this film came out. This film came out December 8th of 2000, and Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, came out December 19th, 2001. That to me is the biggest fucking failure of this film.
That's crazy. They were followed up by one of the best fantasy franchises ever.
Yeah, and like one of the best one of the best adaptations of a fantasy franchise.
Yeah, adaptation. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. I mean, like that's the thing to me that's like really sad about this movie.
I never would have ever taken a step back or known enough to be able to take a step back and see that of like, oh, this was what like the timeline, you know, the chronology of
and that's
all of this.
To me what's important about doing this, similarly to doing Dungeons and Dragons, is the minutia is important, but also taking the 50-foot look is important as well, because it allows you to see where certain things go and how certain things tie. I mean, because like I said, Jurassic Park came out in 93 or 94, and then Spawn came out, and those movies CGI is bad. Then you had this movie come out and the CGI is bad, and then you have Lord of the Rings come out a year later, and while I haven't seen the first Lord of the Rings in a while, I don't remember the CGI being this bad. I mean, mind you, it's a bigger budget. It's a bigger budget, which helps.
Oh, for sure. The budget, yeah.
But the budget for this film was $45 million. I mean, this film had this film had a budget of $45 million. The Lord of the Rings had a budget of $93 million, and what they put together for this film was like a film that at this point would be on like the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, right.
So,
and I mean, the with Lord of the Rings, even thinking back, everyone thinks back. Like I remember thinking back when I was playing N64 games, and my memory is like, oh, the graphics are amazing. But then you see it, and you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, they're definitely not now, but it's perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly, perspective. So, like, I think the thing with the budget, you know, is CGI is obviously scales with your budget and everything. But the biggest mistake I think they made is they almost highlighted their CGI, and like the way they did their shots were almost like they felt like they were showing it off.
Oh no, like, I mean they totally were.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Look how good it looks. I'm like, what? Why are they zooming in a super brightly lit dungeon over this dragon that's like moving its eyes around, and the light is not matching up with the surrounding and
you're completely right. It is bizarre to me that they were showing that. I mean, if it had been me making this film in 2000, I would have told a smaller scale story about these characters. Like, I wouldn't have had any CGI. I mean, you could have had just like a traditional fetch quest, but without all of the nonsense and a better written script. And I think you might have actually had a film that, you know, maybe had some value. I mean, again, here's the thing. Like, the casting is bad. I think that is the kind of the starting point. I mean, I like Lee Arenberg as the dwarf, but I like him in everything, and I've interviewed him before. He's super chill guy, super nice dude. So I know that he was fully committed. I mean, his character is interesting. It's a very, like, over-the-top performance, but he commits to it. But, like, everyone else, other than him, Jeremy Irons, and Richard O'Brien, seems to just be kind of, like, phoning it in and or apoplectic and or lost. Like, they just don't know how to read. Like, they don't know what the script's going for.
Marina, the mage girl, and Norda, the assassin elf girl, like, and even the dwarf. The dwarf just played your classic, you know, classic.
He's kind of like Gimli, right? Like, he's like a more comedic version of Gimli.
A goofed up Gimli, yes, exactly. And like, was he even there? It was so strange. It was that bothered me so much. Of like, I in Dungeons and Dragons, your characters have backstories, and you want them to have reasons why they play together. Like, why was this dwarf with them? Like, they stumbled across him in an alleyway and woke him up, and then he just joins them and, like, ride or die? Like, why was he with them?
Well, I mean...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan. #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
So strange to me.
I mean, to be fair, like that could be your storyline in D&D, right? Is like you are essentially roped into guilty by association, but they don't do a very good job of like making that feel like that's the reason why.
Yeah, because then he's just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just rolling with you guys, and then he just goes with them through all the hoops.
I guess he's getting paid, right?
He kept referencing money. That was the mercenary trope. Definitely, they hammered that in.
Well, the dwarf thing, right? Because like dwarfs love money and they love gold.
Dwarf loves gold. Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I have to ask you this question. Because I know you're not a super nerd D&D style, but you definitely, I want to see if you caught this or if this bothered you. The number one thing that bothered me, and this is a nerd thing, I guess, is, the teleport spells they kept using to blip around all these places, and they'd open this, like, wormhole-looking thing?
Sure.
Okay? At the very end of the movie, they screwed up the whole inner workings of their magic system. Like, you'd open the portal, people would run through it, it would close. There was no gesture to make it close. Like, I was very, very cognizant of watching how the magic worked to make sure it was internally consistent. And at the very end of the movie, as portal was opened, he ran through, and the main character Ridley ran through.
And then they were separated by time.
Places at 2 different times.
Yep. Oh yeah. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
What?
Like,
that bothered. I was like, this is bad. That bothered me the most out of any CG, anything else, any plot, anything. I was like, you just broke your own magic system. Where was he in the like 45-minute, however long? Where was he in this like alternate dimension, just floating through the astral plane? If I try to make it make sense in D&D terms, but like what?
Well, it felt like a plot contrivance to have him just like show up.
All right,
like,
I gotta wait for a little bit. Now he shows up.
Yeah, no, I did notice that, and I was just, again, it's just one of those things where I just kind of wrote it off as like, this movie is just so fucking good. Like, this movie lost me so long ago. Yeah, this movie lost me so long ago that I'm kind of just like, I'm done. Like,
that was in the last like 10 minutes of the movie when that happened. That's when I was like, man, forget this.
Yeah.
And you're
now I have a problem with the movie. It's like, this movie is just this movie is one of those films that has earned its place on the IMDb bottom rated films. Like, it's really earned it. I mean, it is, it's 72 on the list, and right above it is the Paul Rudd perennial trolling of Conan O'Brien favorite Mac and Me. And beneath it is another video game, board game property, which is the Mortal Kombat sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, the thing to me is, it has earned its place on this list, because it is one of those films that is a genuinely bad.
Well, and even to follow that up, the props I will give this movie, and you're going to follow it up, I know what you're going to say, is spoilers for anyone who's worried about seeing the 2000 movie Dungeons & Dragons. But the Marlon Wayans character, Snails, when they killed him off, I was like, holy shit, they killed him. Like, for real killed him. Like, it was shocking, but again, like you said, who cares? But I was surprised they killed the main character, and so many times in today's, you know, all the Game of Thrones stuff, like they would kill characters, and they kill they're not afraid to kill the main characters. So when they did, I was like, oh wow, okay, and I was like, props, I respect that. And I got really nervous at the end that I thought they were going to bring him back, and I was like, no, if they bring him back, no.
And then
they like flew off into their adventure. Well, they flew off into some, and that was at the very end, they get sucked into this red stone that like takes them into this alternate dimension, and they're going to now try and go back and save him, I assume. But that was a very D&D style trope of like, let's go back and save him.
And it's like, yeah, but who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, that's the issue here. Is like, ultimately at the end of the day, who cares? Because the movie hasn't given me
everything else going on.
Yeah,
right. Reason to care. Yeah.
So, what would you give the film out of 5?
Oh, am I allowed to use decimals?
Only if it's halves.
Okay, only if it's halves. All right. I would give it a 1.5.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1 because it is A, awful, B, poorly directed, C, poorly lit. The CGI alone knocks like 3 points off the rating. And then everything else is just... It is one of those films where, like I said before, it earns the reputation of being one of the worst films ever made. Because
then
it's
I would
just
say me and you are on the same page then, because my formula was I give it a 1, but simply and purely because of the fact that it is Dungeons and Dragons, it just gets a 0.5 plus. I gotta see the spell. Someone said the spell Feeble Mind, Force Wall, illusory dragon in a box. That was cool. Like there's these different moments. I was like, oh. So it gets a 0.5 for me from that. But it is definitely a 1 movie there.
Yeah, it is not a film that I would suggest anyone watch. Because if you watch it, you're probably just going to be really disappointed and wonder why we watched it, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, it might even be one of those like, oh, it's this bad? I'm going to go watch it and listen to everything that these guys just said. Oh, yep. Oh, wow. Oh, the dragon does look awful. Oh, wow.
What's sad is like it's not fun bad. It's just bad. Like that's the sad part.
Right.
It's not even fun. And like I appreciate a fun bad movie, but this is just like a straight up just like this movie is just fucking garbage and it needs to be forgotten. And hopefully when the 2021 film comes out, it will be summarily forgotten and no one will care. So let's take a break and I will play a preview for the next Kulturecast.
A beginning is a very delicate time. Know then that it is the year 10,191. In this time, the most precious substance in the universe is the spice melange. The spice extends life. The spice exists on only one planet in the entire universe. The planet is Arrakis, also known as June.
You are about to enter a world where the unexpected.
Many dangers exist on Arrakis.
The unknown.
An incredible secret has been kept on this planet.
And the unbelievable meet.
I see 2 great houses.
Where kingdoms are built on earth that moves.
We have wormside the likes of which even God has never seen.
And skies are filled with fire.
The prophecy which will cleanse the universe and bring us out of darkness.
Where a young warrior is called upon to free his people. A world that holds creation's greatest treasure.
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
And greatest terrors. A world where the mighty.
This is genocide. The deliberate and systematic destruction of all life on Arrakis.
The mad.
I will kill him!
I will love you forever.
And the magical.
Father, the sleeper has awakened!
have their final battle.
Long live the fighters!
Do not show the slightest pity or mercy!
Emperor, we come for you!
Dune, a spectacular journey through the wonders of space and the mysteries of time. From the boundaries of the incredible to the borders of the impossible. Now, Frank Herbert's widely read, talked about, and cherished masterpiece comes to the screen. Dino De Laurentiis presents Dune, a world beyond your experience, beyond your imagination.
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we are going to be talking about the David Lynch 1984 classic Dune, though he doesn't like to talk about it because I guess he considers it to be the only failure that he has ever directed. So until then, where can people find you, Mr. Bjorkgen?
Alan, the Dungeon Coach Bjorkgen.
Listen here, brother. You can come on down to the ring and find me.
I'm rolling my table. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm changing the intro to my YouTube videos now to welcome to the Dungeon Coach. I'm the Dungeon Coach Bjorkgen. Here, coming at you. I actually just started my YouTube channel. It's called The Dungeon Coach, and you can literally youtube.com/The Dungeon Coach, or just go to the taskbar and search The Dungeon Coach. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Dungeon Coach. And I post videos every Saturday at 9 a.m. It's a wide range of videos. I try and have stuff for, like Chris said at the beginning, brand new for newbies, people that actually play, people that are maybe interested in playing, and veterans. So I try and have a wide view of everything.
Well, and again, like we said at the top of the podcast, I think that is important in this day and age because it's helpful to have someone who is willing to teach you kind of the ropes of Dungeons & Dragons.
Right.
You know, because I've tried to play Dungeons & Dragons. The DM that we had would get drunk, and that was not fun.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, he was like wasted trying to be the DM, and we're just like,
oh God,
yeah, this is fun? Question mark. Are we doing it? Are we Dungeons and Dragonsing? Like, no, we're not. We're doing nothing even close. Yeah. Is this it?
Well, what's been cool, it's been cool to see some of the people in my social circle try and find little groups. And, like, all you need is, like, 3 or 4 people to get together. One person steps up to be the dungeon master, and then you can literally create your own world. So there's been nothing like it. I've been, nerdy with video games and board games my whole life, but there's been nothing like Dungeons and Dragons. And even the experiences you share with people sitting around your table with, like, you literally can save each other's lives at the table. And that might sound crazy and nerdy, but, like, you pull into some emotions and stuff whenever you actually get into these things, especially when you play these continual stories, week after week. And you have these moments where, like, when you think back to it, like, whenever me and my friends sit around and, like, we're like, oh, remember the time when you jumped off the cliff to catch him and you barely survived, like, but you saved me? That was clutch, bro. Like, you think of it as if you were actually there. So it's just there's nothing like it. So appreciate you for having me on here, man, to break down this awful movie about this great game.
You're welcome. Yeah, the movie is the movie itself was just it was just fucking trash. And I think now we're either gonna have to cover at some point in the future the second movie or the TV show, or a little bit of both, because I can't imagine the second movie is much better. I mean, this one was pretty bad, so maybe, like, the bar has been set so low that it only has up to go from here, but...
Yep.
I mean, the movie is pretty bad. As for myself, you can find me over at Kulturecast.com. You'll find links over to iTunes and Google Play where you can rate and review the show. Every review helps, I promise. You're doing God's work when you give us a review. You can also follow me on Twitter at casualty_Chris and the podcast on Twitter at Kulturecast. We also have a Patreon where you can kick us a couple dollars. Donors get access to some unreleased episodes and a couple other little ditties here and there. If that's a thing you're into, please, by all means, $1 is all it takes to get access to all the unreleased stuff, and there's going to be a lot more of it in the future. And big thanks, as always, to The Bayou for Tiger Blood Jewel, which is the music for the Kulturecast. And like Alan mentioned, thank you to you for joining me because, you know what the age-old adage is, misery loves company, and God, this was a fucking miserable movie. Ugh.
Oh man,
it's just so bad.
I just rolled a D20 to see how much people should go check the stuff out and go on Patreon. It was a 20. So
D20. So the dice never lie, folks.
Nat
so
20. The dice don't lie.
You heard it here, folks, guys. So yeah, and make sure to check out the next episode.